My name's Graham Chalk, and I'm speaking to you as someone who has had 2 hip replacements within the space of 3 months, which is unusual, I think. The last one was 3 weeks ago, and my recovery is doing well. And I'm just making a few observations which might be of help to anybody else out there who may be suffering from the same disability. Disability's an interesting term, isn't it? I didn't want to consider myself as being disabled at all, and I don't suppose you would either. But a disability is something that prevents you from doing the things you want to do and you should be able to do. So it was a disability which is now being reduced. It's not entirely gone yet because it's only 3 weeks since the last operation. But the ability is coming back. And even though you'll have to put up with pain and discomfort, your ability will come back. And this is a few words. These are a few words about the journey and about what you might face on the way. And the question, of course, would have to be, is it worth it? It's worth it. Stick with it. It's worth it. So, after you've had your operation and you're lying in bed to recuperate for a little while, if you've gone in to get your operation in the morning, you may well be well enough to leave before the evening's over. That's what happened with me. But it depends on your entire circumstances, and it depends on what sort of support you've got. You'll stay at least for a little while. You'll have some food. They'll be able to assess your condition, and they'll be able to see whether you can actually manage with the equipment they supply you with, which will be a pair of crutches. And they will observe, or staff will observe, whether you are able to move around and to walk and to climb using these crutches. Because obviously you'll need to be safe, and they'll have to be assured that you are safe when you get back home. You'll also have a few other things, a few other sundry items. One will be a raised toilet seat, so that you can actually go to the loo and bend a bit easier than you can, bend a bit less. I don't know if I can explain that any more than that, but you will see what I mean when you try to go and you try to lower yourself on a conventional toilet seat. It will be very difficult, and it will be very uncomfortable for you to do that. So initially, the raised toilet seat will have an advantage for you. There'll be other things. There'll be one of these pick-up sticks, spring-loaded things, so you can pick things off the floor, because you will find it's going to be very difficult for you to bend down enough to pick things up. You will have challenges that you did not have before. You will have things like, how do I put my socks on? And you will struggle to do that. It'll become easier, but initially you might want to think about things like slippers, any shoes you can slip on rather than have to tie laces, because you won't be able to bend down that far, not initially. It'll take a while. You'll also want things like a pair of jogging bottoms. You want something loose. You want something that'll be you'll be able to get in without too much difficulty, without too much struggling. You'll need plenty of rest. This runs through the whole thing. You will need more rest than you normally need. You will have a perfect excuse to catch up on box sets or play video games. You will need to do exercises, and you will need to get yourself in a position that you can do the exercises that provide you with, so that you will ultimately be okay. I'm now into the 5th week of my second operation, and I can walk. I've been able to walk since the 3rd week without any crutches, and I can now walk reasonably well. You will ache, you will not feel pain. The pain will diminish, so you will be aching, and the aching will make you feel tired, and because you feel tired, you will need to get more rest than usual. Initially, in the first week at least, you will find using stairs difficult. You may want to base yourself mainly, in the first couple of days at least, on the same level as your bathroom, so you can get there without too much difficulty. You will probably want to sleep on your back. Eventually you'll be able to sleep on your side, but initially, for the first few weeks, not the side they've operated on. That'll aggravate everything, and you don't want to aggravate everything. So you'll be walking with your crutches. You'll be quite adept at them. They'll supply you with some medications before you come back, which will include some codeine, but also some oral medication, which is kind of morphine, in case it gets particularly bad. Your codeine will mean that you'll probably get constipated, so you might want to think about some Senna, something like that, that'll assist with that. You want to be able to drive in the first 6 weeks. It will be illegal for you to drive, so don't even think about it, because if you get in an accident or if you get stopped, you will not be legally entitled to drive. In my case, I was wanting to get back on riding a motorcycle. That's 3 months. So it's going to be longer, obviously, for a bike than it is for a car. Week 2, your walking will get easier. You will still have a disturbed sleep pattern. You will get back to having showers, so you will smell nicer. But you won't be having baths yet. Week 3, there will be a transition to using only one crutch. Your sleep pattern will get reset, so if you share the bed with somebody, they'll be very relieved about that. Sometimes you can manage to get one side to the room, challenge, without a crutch at all. You will be able to get into a bath with assistance, and you will want to have a pillow available to be placed between your legs, so that there will be a cushioning and a slight separation, so you don't get the hip aggravated. It will help having a pillow between your legs there. You'll be able to walk further. Your hips will ache, but you'll have less pain. Bending will be difficult. I mean, you may have had difficulty bending and stretching before, but you will have more difficulty now, but it will come back. In my case, you might want to shop around and start thinking about what sort of motorcycle, because you won't be able to manage the same sort of things as you managed before, not initially at least. In the case of me, indicates what happened to me. When I first started to get symptoms, it meant that I couldn't actually sit on a bike. I couldn't actually sit on a bike, and it was agony, because when your legs try to split, as they do, because you've got a big petrol tank there. In my case, it was an enormous petrol tank. You would be in agony, because you would sit on the seat, you'd get on the seat eventually, but then you wouldn't be able to move your legs, widen them, so that you could sit on the bike. You could try to convince yourself, and you'd spend many, many hours, happy hours, trying to sit on a bike and hitting your head many times with your hand to tell yourself it's only a bit of exert. It's only a bit of a struggle, and you'll get there in the end. You won't, because you haven't yet had the operation. However, I can now sit on a bike. I've chosen a bike with a low seat height, a girl's bike, as it's called. It's a Yamaha XD535 with a very low seat height and a small amount of weight, so it's manageable. Because, well, you may want to get a Honda Goldwing, but I wouldn't recommend that immediately after hip surgery. I think that might come. It will come. Of course it'll come. But not initially. Because I don't want to end up back in hospital, and neither will you. So it's all a matter of baby steps. It's all a matter of everything coming back, and it will come back, and you will curse days. You will. You'll curse days and say, why did I do this? Why did I go through all this? I can do less now than I could before. You can, of course. Initially, you will be able to do less. But congratulations. You're now on a step to recovery. You're now on a step to getting back to where you were before, which you probably haven't been for years. In my own case, the things you regarded as just normal because you weren't working very well will start to alleviate. I don't know about you, but when I used to walk on the beach, my feet went that way, like a penguin. But now, subsequent to the operation, I've noticed, lo and behold, my feet go that way. So anyway, all the pain that you took for granted and you assumed was perfectly normal, you will now find it isn't normal. It wasn't normal. You were just making excuses. You don't need to make excuses anymore. Once you've bitten the bullet and decided to go through with the operation, with the temporary discomfort and minutes of trauma which is involved in the actual procedure itself. It will not be easy. It will not be pretty. You will not like it. You will not like it at all. Not unless you have some kind of psychological trauma-based thing going on that means you really enjoy this sort of stuff. You will not enjoy it. It will not be nice. It will not be pleasant. And for the following few months, it will be a pain in the arse. But you will be slowly getting there, and you will know you are slowly getting there. You will do. You'll get there. I'll try to keep you posted as to how I'm going. And if you're on the same journey, good luck.